The thing that saves your life in a car crash isn't filled with air. It's triggered by the same chemical family used in rocket propellants. You've probably assumed an airbag is just a bag, stuffed somewhere in your steering wheel, waiting. And when you crash, something pumps air into it really, really fast. That's wrong. Almost completely wrong. What actually happens inside that bag is one of the most elegant pieces of controlled chemistry ever engineered. And it fires faster than you can blink. Here's what nobody tells you. An airbag doesn't inflate. It detonates. There's a small explosive charge inside your steering wheel right now in every car on the road. And the reason it doesn't kill you, the reason it saves you instead, comes down to chemistry so precise it has to work within a 30-millisecond window. Miss that window by even a fraction and it's useless, or worse. We're going to get into 3 things that will genuinely change how you look at your dashboard. First, what actually creates the gas inside the bag and why it was almost banned. Second, how the car knows to fire it at exactly the right moment. And third, the part of the system that most people have never heard of that's arguably the most important piece of all. Let's start with the gas. Most people assume the bag fills with compressed air, like a bicycle punk, but fast. Nope. The bag fills with nitrogen gas generated on the spot in real time by a chemical explosion. The chemical responsible is sodium azide. It's a white crystalline powder, and in its raw form, it's genuinely toxic, hazardous enough that handling it requires protective gear. But here's the thing. When you heat it to about 300 degrees Celsius, it breaks down almost instantly into harmless sodium metal and pure nitrogen gas. That gas expands at explosive speed and inflates the bag in roughly 30 milliseconds. For reference, a blink takes 150 milliseconds. The airbag is already fully inflated before your face has moved more than a few inches forward. But here's where it gets genuinely strange. The sodium metal left behind after that reaction, also toxic. So there's a second reaction built in, immediately after the first. Oxidizing agents in the canister react with the sodium to produce harmless sodium silicate. Basically, the system self-neutralizes its own toxic byproducts in the same instant it fires. It's a 2-stage chemical cascade happening in the time it takes you to think, oh no. Now, how does the car know to fire it? There's an accelerometer inside your car, a tiny sensor that measures deceleration. In a serious crash, your car goes from 35 miles per hour to 0 in milliseconds. That deceleration spike is catastrophically different from, say, hitting a pothole. The sensor detects it, sends an electrical signal to the igniter, and the whole chemical sequence fires. The threshold is typically around 8 to 14 G-force, depending on the vehicle. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, frontal airbags have saved over 50,000 lives in the U.S. alone since their introduction. 50,000 people who would otherwise not be here. Okay, here's the part I've been holding back. After the airbag deploys, it deflates almost immediately. You've probably seen this in crash footage. The bag puffs up and then collapses. Most people assume it just leaks or slowly loses pressure. The bag is designed with deliberate vent holes, because if it stayed rigid, hitting a fully inflated bag at crash speed would break your neck. The engineering challenge was never how do we inflate it fast. That's the easy part. The real problem was how do you make something explode, inflate, catch a human face traveling at speed, and then give way at exactly the right rate so the deceleration is survivable. Too stiff, and the bag itself kills you. Too soft, and you blow through it. The vent holes are tuned to bleed pressure at a rate calibrated to the average human skull's tolerance. This is what airbag engineers actually lose sleep over, not the explosion, but the collapse. So, here's what this actually means for you today. If you drive an older car, roughly pre-2012, your airbag almost certainly contains sodium azide. Cars manufactured after that increasingly use different propellants, like guanidine nitrate, which are less toxic and more stable. If you're buying a used car, it's worth knowing which generation of airbag system it has. Ask a mechanic, or look up the VIN on NHTSA's recall database. It's free and takes 30 seconds. And if your airbag warning light is on, don't ignore it. That light means the system has detected a fault. A car with a disabled airbag isn't just slightly less safe. In a serious frontal crash, it can be the difference between walking away and not. So, Your car is full of systems like this, things that seem simple on the surface but are hitting layers of physics and chemistry that engineers spent decades perfecting. Next time, we're going inside something even more counterintuitive, the system that decides how hard your brakes actually grip in an emergency, and why doing the right thing in a skid used to guarantee you'd crash. If that sounds backwards, good, that's the point. If this video made you think about something differently, the algorithm notices when you stick around and subscribe, and so do I. See you in 30 seconds.